We are awakening to the calling of the mystic. Awakening, we are awakening.
This all started as I was just going to have a small practitioner satsang, and then when I realized it was the 22nd, I thought, well, God, it's time that we open a new door in consciousness with the end of the Mayan calendar and the end of Kali Yuga and all this. And so then I went ahead and I invited, grads as well to come. And then after that, I thought, well, gee, the whole world should be allowed to be in on this satsang, and so we're going to be joined by 4,000 people very shortly. And it's all Deborah's fault. You know why? Because Deborah had put out a prayer that she wanted, with the journey, to put Adelaide on the map. Let's make sure that Kev's mic works as well. So,
Is that working?
I can't hear it, no? I can.
They're saying yes to the back, so I'll trust.
No.
Is it coming through the speakers?
No.
It's not. It's just your voice is carrying.
It's okay, it's my big booming voice.
Okay, now make sure you turn off the handheld, and I hope that they're not rolling.
They're rolling.
No, I hope.
You're right.
Yeah, we go. There we go.
Okay. So, I think I just got a signal that we're starting. Right. A deep, heartfelt namaste to everyone. And a big welcome to those of you who are joining us all over the world. And it's such an extraordinary time that we live in. And by the way, I'm Brandon Bays. For those of you that don't know me from around the world that are joining in, and this is Kevin Village. And
Good morning, or good evening, or good night.
or good super early in the morning. I think in Israel it's 2 a.m. in the morning, and it's 12 o'clock in the morning, or 12 o'clock at night in England, and I think 4 o'clock in the afternoon in New York, not New York, in California, and 6 o'clock in the afternoon in New York. And so a heartfelt welcome to everyone that's joining us. And this was originally intended to be a very informal, very relaxed satsang that I was having with Journey Grads. And I'm here in Adelaide because we were going to be giving, I'm keynote speaking at a festival called Rise Up here. And it's a celebration of the end of the Mayan calendar and an opening into a brand new consciousness. And I wanted to share a little bit about why we wanted to have a worldwide satsang like this. And it's because, much has been said about 2012. A lot of it's been very doomsaying. And I didn't experience that in my own life. What I experienced instead in 2012 was a call from the soul to clear whatever doesn't resonate with our highest good. And so this year has been a very tumultuous year for many of us. It's definitely been a cataclysmic year for me personally. And it's been a year of shedding the unessential to expose a deeper truth, a more authentic truth, and a greater love. And so I always viewed that, the 21st being the end of the Mayan calendar, as more like an invitation to humanity. I have no superstitions about what 2012 means. I can only speak directly from my own experience. And I chose to instead view this stepping into a calendar-free time, in this new era, as an invitation from life to really allow a love consciousness and a compassion for humanity, for our world, for one another, for the animals, and to really open a door, 100th monkey style, where millions of us are gathering from around the world, both yesterday and today. For many of you, most of you, this is the 21st, is today. Here in Australia, it's actually the morning of the 22nd. And that all over the world, millions of people are gathering in churches, in conference centers, in festival halls, in parks, in homes, and in spiritual centers, to really open into the possibility of stepping into a new consciousness. And I know that this is possible because I'm reminded of when Roger Bannister, he first ran the first 4-minute mile. Now that may not seem like a very big thing. And yet, when you think about it, the Olympics had been going on for thousands of years. And collectively, everyone believed that anatomically it was impossible to run a 4-minute mile. So no one was able to. And yet, when he broke through that barrier, the interesting thing that happened was the other Olympic runners that for thousands of years had not been able to run a 4-minute mile, suddenly they were able to. And it's like he opened a door in consciousness and shut a door behind him. And that's what the prayer is. The invitation is to really open a door in consciousness where we open into the love, the compassion, the care, for caring for our world, for one another, regardless of what countries we come from, regardless of what color our skins are, regardless of what our cultural backgrounds are. I believe that we can use this magical day as an invitation into a greater love and greater compassion. And so that's why we're having this global satsang here. And I don't know if you wanted to share anything. I know for me, this year has been extremely stressful. And
Let's straw poll here. How many people have had a stressful 2012? We're not on our own. I'm definitely looking forward to walking through this new door into new consciousness. I can feel it's here. We need to take the step. It's going to be a common experience around the world this year, particularly as the year's gone on, that I keep asking people how you experienced the year, and I can showing up differently for different people, but tumultuous, cataclysmic, stressful to the point that people's coping mechanisms are not coping anymore. And the interesting thing that I've experienced with it all is that we've come to realize, many of us, that the deal that we've had with life doesn't exist. It probably didn't exist to start with, but we kind of kidded ourselves that if I behave in whatever way is prescribed, if I'm good, if I'm hardworking, if I study, if I do my homework, if I fill in the gap, whatever it is, if I perform in a certain way in life, then life will give me approximately what I expect back. And we've realized it's bust. And a lot of big people have been saying, the old rules are broken, they don't apply anymore. And here's the interesting thing, when you realize that your strategies don't work, when you realize all your little games and your manipulations are not providing the benefits you anticipated they would provide, the only sane thing you can do is stop and surrender. You have to let go, otherwise you drive yourself nuts. So for me, yes, walking through a door into new consciousness, yes please, today, let's do that right now. I think that part of the invitation through that doorway is an invitation to let go, an invitation to surrender, an invitation to get very real with what is, and to admit that we're not in charge, that we're not in control. And then we'll plunge through the door.
It's a beautiful prayer. You know, I prayed that this would be, and for all those also watching, very interactive. That it's not just that we're putting out pretty principles, you know, and lovely, you know, aphorisms and confirmations and positive inputs. This is not what this is about. This is about really opening deeply in ourselves and clearing whatever's been holding us back from opening into this love that is our own essence, from living from compassion, living from care for ourselves and for our families and for life. And so for my prayer in this is that this is a dynamic satsang where we're going to have some chantings, we'll put out prayers for the world and open into meditation. And then after that, I'd like to invite everybody into some deep teaching and process work where you really get to explore and uncover, expose the barriers and the lies that have really held you back from living from the love that is your own essence. I always say with the journey, it's never a process of giving or adding in anything. It's a process of subtraction. And when you subtract away the blocks, you subtract away the veils, you subtract away the shutdowns, you subtract away the negative concepts, the old beliefs. When you subtract all of that away, what remains is this natural love, this freedom. And so I thought we'd start, because we are invoking a healing embrace for ourselves, for life, for our loved ones, is we'd start with a chant, a healing chant. And in your rooms, just sing along as well. Okay, he'll come back later when it's time for him to offer a very powerful guided introspection. And this is actually, it has a mantra with it. This is a healing song. And the words are, in the light of love, we are whole. In the light of love, we are home. In the light of love, we heal and sing. Thy will be done. So those are the English words. And then there's a medicine mantra, one of the most ancient medicine mantras that really invokes the healing force of all of life. And the words are Om Shri. Is that with me? Om Shri. Dhamvantre. Namaha. Okay, and this is an invocation of the healing power of the universe. And so I'm going to, after we have our invocation, if you want to call it that, this chant that we sing together in both English and Sanskrit, then we'll let it be an invitation into a prayer for this new way of living life authentically from the love that is our own heart. And then we'll go from there into some quite powerful process work that you'll get to both do with one another. And at home, you'll be able to do that out loud in your room, wherever you are. Or if you have someone else sharing the time with you, that's even all the better. So you'll be able to interact. And then I'll take you into yet another process that is one that is clearing and one that can cleanse even our DNA. So if you'd like to join me, let's all take a nice deep breath in. Letting it out. And closing the eyes. Closing the eyes. And just becoming aware of your own awareness. I don't think, oh, there's this mic, sorry. Becoming aware of your own awareness. And letting everything soften and open and relax. Softening your face. And the cheeks. Relaxing the corner of your own eyes. Softening the mouth. And releasing the jaw. You know, all of us carry so much tension, and it actually doesn't give us anything, it just gives us tension. So we might as well just open into this love and relax our jaw. And softening your throat and the neck. And releasing your shoulders and arms. And softening your own chest. Opening the door to your own heart. Softening the solar plexus. And the belly, just let your belly go flow. Just let it relax. Give permission to your entire body that for the next timeless hour and 45 minutes that we share together, that you're just going to relax and open and be present. And softening the belly, sides of the hips, and relaxing the upper thighs, middle thighs, knees, legs, feet. And if there's any sort of walls or armor or defendedness that might be anywhere in consciousness, just imagine right now you're opening the front door. The back door. And the side doors. And letting any masks fall away. Allowing this whole suit of armor to drop now to the ground. Be swept out of the room. And you're just left as open exposure to your own self. And becoming aware that is your own self, your own awareness, is already open, spacious, vast, and free in front of you. So vast it penetrates the front wall wherever you are. It's spacious, infinite, vast behind. And it's endless and spacious and free to all sides. Boundless below. You're just resting here as an ever-deepening ocean And we'll allow this presence, this awareness, this love, this grace to sing through us. And so in your mind's eye, I'd like to ask you to welcome those of yourself, your loved ones, your family, your community, your countries, that you welcome the loved ones into this circle of healing. Really welcoming all of humanity into this circle of healing. As a matter of fact, you can see some sort of light embracing our world. And letting your heart be as wide as the world. Wide enough to include not just your own circle of friends, but all the souls that make up our world. That's how vast this love is. And so welcoming all of humanity as we sing this song of inviting healing for our world. And just join in your own living rooms and join us here as we connect the many hearts, the millions of hearts around the world in the one love. Can you turn that up, please? Much louder, much louder. Can you turn it up louder?
In the light of love, we are home. In the light of love, we are home. In the light of love, we heal and sing. Thy will be done. In the light
And allowing this love that is here become even more spacious, more vast, more infinite in front of you. And you become even more boundless and spacious behind you. And endless to all sides of you. And just resting here, as if you're at the very bottom, the fathomless depths of an ocean of ever deepening, stillness. And we'll let our prayer arise out of this stillness and point us back into it. As an expression of it. And there is a deep prayer here. That there's somehow some door opened in consciousness, that we, as human beings, somehow fall into the love that is our own essence. And whatever has been obscuring that, blocking it, holding us back on any level, that those veils fall away, exposing this authentic truth of who we are. The freedom, the compassion, the love is here. And that there be a unity consciousness, and that as humanity we serve the highest good in each other and in life for our world. And so there is a prayer here that we step through this new door into a compassion consciousness, into one of reaching out and caring for our fellow human beings, one of recognizing our own humanness with compassion and recognizing that also in others, and reaching out with acceptance for all that life is. Though in and of itself, this day, the 21st, the 22nd of December 2012, may not mean anything at all, still, there is an invitation from life, from our own souls, and a prayer here for all of humanity to look upon this date as an invitation from life to be the change our world needs, to be a consciousness of peace, of caring for our fellow human beings, and for our world. And so in our prayer, seeing all the lights that represent the souls on our world, on this planet, all the torches, and seeing as if somehow this collective prayer to liberate ourselves, to find wholeness and freedom and authentic expression of the divine, that some great force of life is taking the lampshades off the lights of all the souls that represent humanity. That is what the collective prayer is to take the lampshades, the lids off of ourselves to live from the freedom and the love that is our own essence. And seeing all these billions of lampshades being thrown into the sun, and that just this love remains. And inviting whatever lampshades we might have, whatever veils, whatever lids, blocks, shuts, downs, that they might be removed, let go of, so that this divine potential, this radiant magnificence, this love, this freedom that is our own essence, can live our lives in unity with all the other beings. Seeing this as having already happened. And saying the words, and so be it. So be it. And then once again, just letting everything soften and relax and open as your own awareness becomes even more spacious and boundless. And infinite in front of you. Let it become more endless and spacious and vast behind you. Free and endless to all sides of you. And just resting here as this ocean of ever deepening. Love. And what if every thought were a signal to go deeper now? Into this ever deepening, vast ocean. Stillness. as you remain at the very bottom, in the fathomless depths of this ever-deepening ocean of presence. What if every thought were like so many clouds in the sky, drifting by as you remain at the very bottom, in the fathomless depths of an ever-deepening ocean. Stillness. Take a nice deep breath in and sigh. And another nice deep breath in and sigh. And continuing to rest, soak, steep in this love, as this love, so that eyes open or eyes closed, same. And the awareness remains spacious and infinite, boundless in front of you. Free and endless behind, and infinite and spacious to all sides. Take a nice deep breath in. Letting it out. And when the eyes are ready, we can open them into this love. And even with our eyes open, just be aware that your awareness is still open, spacious, vast, and free in front. Even with your eyes open, let it be vast, spacious, behind, and infinite to all sides. And we'll let this whole satsang happen in this vaster context of being. So I'll take another nice deep breath in. Letting it out. And of those of you at home, if the eyes have not opened yet, it's the invitation to open them now. And one more nice deep breath in. And out. We were sharing earlier what a cataclysmic year this has been for me. And I mean, we all know, I had the tumor, and then I had a house burned down, and then I lost the family, and yet this year was actually, for me, more stressful than all of that, than that time period in my life. And yet, as everything fell away this year, some deeper, all-abiding love has been exposed. And I want to just say, for those of you who may not know what the journey is, I just want to in a capsule say it, that the journey is a very powerful healing process, a process that is very liberating and life-transforming. And it was born from my own direct experience of healing from a basketball-sized tumor. And part of the gift of that experience is I found a way for all of us to open into our own divine potential, into this radiant presence that is your own essence, this love that is the truth of who you are, and at that deepest level to turn the torch on inside, the flashlight on inside, and to go on a journey inside and really get access to old repressed cell memories, old dead consciousness, old mental constructs stored inside ourselves, and to go in a very radically practical, down-to-earth, step-by-step way through a process of releasing the stored consciousness in the cells, understanding what's taken place, and ultimately forgiveness, so the body and the being can heal. And so with the work, and this, healing from a tumor, that was 20 years ago, when I was 39 years old, and I'm 59 now. And yet I still get a journey process once a week, because I never want to be so arrogant as to think that I've got it all handled. There's more than one cell memory stored inside here. And I feel it's a privilege to clear whatever obscures me, whatever's stored in here, so that more and more of this that I am can be made available. And I had a process that happened about 6 weeks ago in Holland. And when I went inside, the cell memory that I got access to was a memory of feeling myself to be a victim of some particular life circumstance. And I thought, this is an old theme of mine, This is such an old pattern. And I thought, well, surely this isn't the only cell memory that I have of this being a victim. And also being a victimizer, someone who retaliated by hurting others in my being hurt, or by closing myself down or shutting that other person out. So I could see that I was really both the victim and the victimizer. And I was working with Gabby Bird, she's the managing director of Journey Events, and getting my journey process, I said, I wonder if there's an earlier memory. And we went to an earlier memory of when I was 5 years old, and that same theme was playing itself. And I went to an even earlier memory when I was a toddler, and still that same consciousness was there with me. And then we went back to an earlier memory of when I was an infant, just newly born, and that consciousness was still with me. And I thought, gosh, did I bring this in? Did I bring this victim and being a victimizer, in with me? And so I kind of went back into my mother's womb. There, obviously you can't see anything. You're just a being, you're just a soul. But, there is a way in which, even though your cognitive mind may not be aware of every instant of your life, your own soul, it knows every millisecond of what's happened in your life. And there in the womb, in my mother's womb, was still this consciousness of being both the victim and the victimizer. And I thought, did I just bring this in with me? And so we went back before I had a physical form. where I was just this formless allness, everything, just pure existence. And when I was there, I had something happen that had never happened to me like this in any journey process I'd ever done. I saw not just one genetic memory or past life memory, but in front of me there were lines, thousands, perhaps even millions, of lines connecting me to all the lives that I'd lived, and I'd run this pattern of being both the victim and the victimizer. And I looked at this whole morass of lines being connected, you know, and that I, in each of those lifetimes, be it a genetic memory that was passed on or a past life memory, I don't know which it is, but I was looking, I could look down each tube and I could see exactly what had happened in that lifetime. And as I looked down certain tubes, I could see that I had been the most horrific victimizer. That even in one lifetime I practiced black magic and I was hurting people with that. And in another lifetime, I was actually torturing people. Still another lifetime I looked and I was the one being tortured. And I would look and it was like in living color, I could see each of the lifetimes. In a lot of lifetimes, both patterns were running. That I was both hurting other people and I was being hurt. And no matter which tube I looked down, every one of them had this theme running. And Gabby, she asked me, you know, do you want to go into one of these lives and, you know, do a journey process with one of these memories? And I said, no, there's thousands, perhaps millions here, you know. And I said, I don't feel like that's what the invitation is. I feel that there's a different invitation being made. It's time to finish with this whole karmic dance. It's time to break with this karma. As I looked down at these tubes, at myself, in each of the lifetimes, no matter I was the baddest of the bad, or I was the most shining of the shining, and I danced every dance that humanity can dance to the nth degree, some sort of compassion arose for myself, an acceptance that there was no game that I hadn't played. And it shattered some illusion that I've been holding in this life about my own essential goodness. Because there were equal amounts of badness and goodness in these different memories I could see. And so I invited God and a mentor to come, a master to come, and I said, it's time. I feel the invitation is here to break and finish with this whole consciousness, and just to come into this life with a compassion for and an acceptance of the human condition, just as it is. No idealized versions of it, just an acceptance is that this is the dance that we have played up till now. And my entire heart opened up, and all I could send down each of the tubes was a feeling of acceptance and love for all the horrific, painful, disturbing, shining, beautiful, magnificent, horrendous games I played, dances I danced. And I asked life to come and literally sever the cord with these millions of lifetimes, and to let this love go down each tube, this acceptance go down each tube to each of these lifetimes. And science will tell you that life isn't consecutive, actually, that it's all happening at once. And that's what it felt like when I was doing this process, that all at once, through all of time, in all of consciousness, there was this love being sent down to an acceptance of what I'd lived through. And I saw my DNA strand appear in front of my mind's eye. And what science has found, that there's actually, our genes, they go on and off. It's called being expressed or unexpressed in our lifetime. And in fact, there is a gene for compassion. They found that with rats, that if a rat in its lifetime is not licked by its mother, its compassion gene will shut down. And when it gives birth to a baby rat, that baby rat will be born with the compassion gene unexpressed, literally shut down. However, if that little rat is then licked in its lifetime, then its compassion gene will turn on. And so, in my mind's eye, I saw my own DNA strand, and it was like this huge spiritual shower was just pouring, and I watched my compassion gene turn on. And the other genes for love, for wholeness, for caring, for our human condition, for acceptance of what is, it all turned on. My whole DNA strand in front of me with the spiritual shower just turned on. And then I asked that I re-enter my mother's womb, but with this consciousness of acceptance of myself and others for the dance that we have danced in the millions of lifetimes that we've lived. And I went into the womb and post-womb, into that memory of being an infant, and all that was here was just this simple acceptance. And again, coming up through all the consecutive memories right up until the now. And I even saw in the future how this new consciousness would be really living my life. And the most extraordinary thing happened after I finished my process, and I'm just giving you the bare bones of it. I opened my eyes, and from that moment forward, a most extraordinary thing happened. All I could feel, and since that time, from morning to night, from the moment I wake in the morning to the time I go to sleep at night, is just love for the life that we lead, for the suffering that's here. And even when projection, when you're sitting in the front of the room, comes my way, I'd prefer that it didn't happen, It's more pleasant when it doesn't. And yet all I could feel was an accepting neutrality and a compassion for the pain that I knew was causing that person to project negativity my way, And it's just been there day and night since then. Now the most extraordinary thing happened. This was part of this whole 2012, where there was a physical letting go in my life of a lot of areas of my life. It culminated like 6 weeks ago with this process with the DNA and the recognition and the acceptance of the whole human condition. The next weekend I was giving the Journey Intensive in Germany. And as you know, at the Journey Intensive I always do a live demonstration with the person at the front of the room. And this woman, the cell memory, by the way, that she uncovered was a memory when she was 5 years old. And she was with her grandfather, and her grandfather was a general in the Nazi army. And she said, obviously she was born like I am, like most of us are, post-World War II. And she said she never could understand. She said she felt zerrissen. And zerrissen means like torn in two, just ripped apart. She said on one side, it was all of her grandfathers. He was so loving to the children, the grandchildren. This big, huge love coming her way. And she could see that. And then there was this other side that she knew he had been a general in the Nazi army. And she would ask him, but grandfather, did you ever kill anybody? And he would go stumm. And stumm just means stumm. We don't talk about this. It's just like a silence. There's subject matters that are just no-go zones. And in German, when there's a no-go zone, they just say stumm. It just means that's not an area we even go near. You know? And she said, that consciousness, that there's areas, things in our bodies, and areas of our life that we don't look at, we don't talk about, we don't admit to, we just don't go there. She said that consciousness got passed on to her father. And she said what was so odd, because there was this area that we weren't allowed to talk about, we weren't allowed to look at, right? That was stumm. She could not feel her grandfather's love. Because if there's an area in your body and in your life that's a no-go zone that says, I don't go there, I don't speak about this, I don't talk about this, I don't know about this, I don't listen to anything about it, I just don't go there. It shuts you down from being able to open into unbridled love. And she said that consciousness got passed on to her dad. She could never feel his love. And she said, Brandon, I'm a mother of 4. And there are parts in my life that are stumm. And I know my children. I have so much love for my children. But I know they can't feel it because of the stumm, the no-go zone. And my children, they have their places where they're stumm. We don't talk about this. And I can't feel their love, though I see and look in their eyes that they feel it. And I know they can't feel mine. And she says, it's time. I've finished. There just cannot be areas of my life that I'm not willing to admit to experience, to feel, and to face. I want to be done with this stumm consciousness. Now, with the journey process, it's not about just uncovering a consciousness. It's about uprooting it and releasing it and coming to understanding of what happened, forever letting it go. And I was extremely moved by this process and felt quite liberated by it, as did everyone in the room. But I went, when I left the seminar that night, I went to my hotel room. I got to looking at my life and seeing the areas of my life that were stumm, that I can't talk about. And I looked specifically at my mum, because she was born in Austria. And her father, working in the resistance, was put into a Nazi jail and killed. Her husband was shot down by the Luftwaffe. And my father was an American soldier. Met my mother, who already had a little boy, and they moved to New York, and I grew up in America. And my mother just put the whole war behind her. She never once spoke about anything. I didn't even know where my mother was born. I didn't know what my grandfather's name was. I never heard her speak about him. I didn't know what her former husband's name was. I just knew that my brother Mike, Michael, that he was born from a different dad than my dad. And I realized that my mother had gone stumm with everything prior to coming to America. And because of this, I was just like the kids of this woman that had shared in Germany. I couldn't feel unbridled love, though I felt love for her. It wasn't an unbridled love. That night, and my mom's 91 years old. She's turning 92 this year. I'm turning 60 this year. And I called her from Germany. And I said, Mom, this year I turned 60. You turned 92. I don't know who you are. I know nothing about you. Please, I just want to get to know you finally by the time I'm 60. I want to know you, Mom. And she said, oh, I didn't know my mother. Why should you want to know me at this age? And I said, Mom, I want to know everything about you. I don't even know where you were born. I know nothing about your childhood. I know nothing about your parents, your father, your former husband, and please will you share about that? And she began to share, and whenever she got to those areas that were stumm, she actually said the words, oh, well, we don't talk about that. And I said, please, Mom, I want to know. Please. And so she'd share a little bit, and she'd begin to tear up a little bit. And so we'd softly go on to another part of her life. But eventually I'd take it back to the stumm areas. And she opened just a little bit and would share just a little bit about those areas that weren't allowed to be talked about. And every time she did, it's like this door opened inside of me. And another door opened, and another door opened, and another door opened. And at the end of an hour-long discussion, it's like this big dam just broke inside of me. And this unbridled love for my mother, a love that I, in the last nearly 60 years, could never fully feel, was made available. Not only available, but it's here every second, every millisecond. I just was on the phone with her 3 nights ago, and we've never spoken like this before. My mother just sobbing over the phone at the age of 91. And her last words were to me, I love you, I love you, I love you. You must know this, I love you. And in return, Mom, I love you. I love you. I love you, Mom. With my whole heart, with my whole being, I love you, Mom. And I put the phone down. And I've been living in this love since that process. I came home from Germany, and I wanted to look in my life and see what areas I was stumm in my marriage. Now, I have to say, I've been blessed beyond all measure. Kevin, the man I introduced earlier, is my husband. He's the CEO of Journey Seminars and the founder of Visionary Leadership Program. And we've been together now for 17 years. And we came together in a very conscious marriage, one of great openness, of nakedness, of exposure. But when I was totally honest with myself, I wanted to look at the areas that I might not be willing to admit to myself that I was stumm in, that I was no-go zone area. And I realized that I was willing, just because of what happened with my mother, that some door had opened in me, and there was no area that I'm not willing to talk about with him. There are no stumm areas. And I started opening up, and we were just sitting on the beach here, at Henley Beach here in Adelaide, yesterday. And I said, Kev, there's an area that I barely wanted to admit to myself. You know, ever since 52 years old, when I finished going through menopause, I'm aware that I'm aging. And I so much want to be attractive to you. And I'm aware there's extra weight that's come on hormonally. I still eat an extremely clean diet. Nothing's changed there. And yet extra weight has come on. And I'm terrified that you won't find me attractive anymore. And I was so terrified of it, I just didn't want you to know even. I didn't even want to admit it to myself. But if I'm honest, whenever I go and look at myself in the mirror and I see the wrinkles, and I see the weight, and I pray that somehow you're still attracted at least to my essence. You know, but that was a secret fear. Secret fear. And, you know, we sat down and we started sharing areas that we weren't even willing to admit to ourselves that we're stumm. And I have to say, this is pretty honest, naked, very exposed relationship, very real. You know, deep, deep acceptance for one another, and we both found that there were areas that were stumm. And all I could say to you, if you were willing to really open your being and expose and speak out the areas in yourself which have been no-go zones that you're not allowed to look at, that you're not allowed to speak about, that you're not even allowed to let someone else talk to you about. Because I would have been mortified had Kevin brought that subject up. That I've gained weight and that I'm, you know, got more wrinkles and than I did 17 years ago when he met me, you know. That was just that was a no-go zone. Not willing to hear about it, not willing to talk about it, not even willing to hear about it in my own head. Do you understand? But something opens up. When you really open your being and say, okay, there are no areas that I can't talk about. With each thing that you speak out loud, a door opens, and another door opens, and another door opens, until you're just left as unbridled acceptance. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to invite Kev to come up here, and he's going to take you through a guided introspection where you can begin to, in a very real way, not in a metaphorical way, but in a very direct way, look at these areas and talk about them, express about them in your life that previously have been stumm. And after we've done that process, I'm going to take you into that process that I did in Holland, a truncated version of it, of the victim and victimizer and the DNA, so that we can go through a process of really clearing. So I'd like to go ahead and ask Kevin, and he'll just take you through a little guided introspection.
Okay, so if you would turn to a person one side or the other of you and just kind of turn to face each other. Now you may, if you're in the room here, need to look behind or in front or to move a little bit. And if you're doing this at home, if there's someone with you, you can pair up with that person. Otherwise, if you're alone at home, just to speak the words out. It's important here that you speak them audibly so that your own ears hear the words. You know, sometimes we have a quiet or even silent soundtrack taking place internally. That perpetuates the spin. So to speak the words out so that your own ears hear them, that's what cuts through that cycle. So everyone got a partner? Okay, great. So it's just an auditory exercise. There's
if
nothing.
If they don't have a partner, stand
write
up
down
so
here.
that you can partner with somebody else.
Anyone not have a partner now? Everyone is okay, right at the back. Ron, do you want to jump in there? Cool. Beautiful. So, for the moment, if you would, just to close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, take a nice long deep breath in. And let it all the way out. And a second good long deep breath in. And out to the end of the breath. Letting everything relax. Inviting the mind to wind down. And the body softens. Then imagining the chest and heart area really opening up, becoming exposed. All barriers fall away. Exposed heart, authenticity available here. Soften the belly area as well, just relax that. Whatever arises here is allowed. Whatever impulse comes up, please, to allow that to be spoken, censorship free. And then another nice long deep breath in. And letting it out. And then softly open your eyes and connect with your partner. And as you connect with your partner, just to say to them, thank you for your exposure. Thank you for your authenticity. Thank you for being willing to speak the unguarded truth. Because that gives me permission to be the same and do the same. And then if you want to decide who's going to be partner A and who's going to be partner B here, partner A you'll share first. So partner A, if you would to just raise your hand, if you're willing to share first. Okay, beautiful. And partner B, you're going to listen and you're going to respond with a thank you and what else? Thank you, all permission is here and what else? All acceptance is here and what else? So partner B, you'll respond encouragingly, encouraging further opening, further sharing. And for partner A, the question is, what are the areas of your life in which you've been stumm? What are the areas of your life that have been no-go areas? Not shareable, not expressible, sometimes not even accessible, secret areas, secret shutdowns. Now this could be from any area of your life. It could be in terms of health, vitality, aging, relationship, intimacy. It could be in terms of family dynamic. It could be in terms of emotionality or specific emotions themselves. Are there any of these areas that hold no-go area for you? It could be in terms of career and money. The admission of something that's not been admitted up until now. Any of these areas. And so person A, if you would just to open wide and allow it to come out of your mouth so your own ears can hear and your partner can hear. What are the areas that have been no-go for you? What have you not shared before, not admitted to anyone before? And partner B, you'll sit in here as a surrogate for family, for beloveds, for significant people in your partner's life. So you'll be just opening here as a surrogate. And thank you. All acceptance and what else? And so partner A, if you would, just let the words bubble up and let them bubble out. And if you're at home, just speak them out loud if you're working on your own, so your own ears can hear. What have you not admitted, maybe to anyone up until now, from some specific areas of your life? And you can start as soon as you're ready. What wants to be shared? What needs to be shared? Really open and connect with each other. Thank you. What else? All welcome here, all acceptance, thank you. What else? What are the no-go areas? What's not been allowed? If it arises in awareness, just let it come out of your mouth. Anything, whatever is here is welcome. Thank you. Thank you. What else? Take a look at specific areas in your life. What behaviors have been secret for you? Things you're not allowed to admit. Desires, addictions, compulsions. Thank you. What else? Anything that might be even so secret that you didn't admit it to yourself, let that bubble up and come out of your mouth. The things you've not even admitted to yourself. The shy things, the secret things. What are the no-go areas? What else? And just taking 1 minute to finish off here, anything else that arises, please speak it out. What has been stumm up until now? What has been silent? Spiritually, what have been your no-go areas? What have you not been willing to admit? Maybe you're not enlightened. Maybe some negative impulses arise from time to time. Speak them out. What are the fears? What are the unspoken fears? Okay, beautiful job. Just pause there for a moment, just stop for the moment, and stay connected visually with your partner. And partner B, if partner B would say, all acceptance is here. I forgive you completely. A whole universe of forgiveness is here. And thank you for sharing. And then both just really briefly close your eyes again. And as we prepare to switch roles here, take a nice long deep breath in and let that all the way out. And this time, partner A, wide embrace, all acceptance, all welcome. You're going to be asking or saying thank you and asking what else is here, what else can be shared, what else is secret. And partner B this time, what are the no-go areas? From any area of your life, be specific here. Look at your body, aging, health, intimacy, sex, sexuality, family dynamic, behavioral dynamics. What are you not proud of? What's even been secret? What have you been ashamed of? What has been closed down? Imagine taking the lid off any closure inside. Spiritually, financially, career-wise, any specific area of your life, what have been the no-go zones? Again, nice long deep breath in, letting that slowly out to the end of the breath. Then opening your eyes. Partner B this time. If it arises, let it be spoken out so your own ears can hear it. What are the shutdowns, the no-go zones? And you can start as soon as you're ready. Thank you. What else? Stay connected with each other. Thank you. What else? All welcome is here. What has previously not been admitted, not been spoken? What dare not you have shared prior to today? Partner A, be welcoming. Thank you. Yes, of course. What else? It's all welcome. What else? Things you may have been ashamed to admit, things that were secrets, just let them out. And what else, and what else, and what else? If it arises, no censorship, it comes out of your mouth. Speak it out. You're doing beautiful work. Keep it coming. One more minute to finish off. Just take one more minute. Anything else that bubbles up, let it be spoken out. One more minute. Spiritually, socially, family-wise, anything. Okay, and just pausing there, just coming to neutral, stopping there for the moment. And this time, stay connected visually, keep looking at each other, and partner A this time, just say thank you so much for sharing. All is welcome here. I forgive you completely. Life forgives you completely. All forgiveness is here. And then just take a quick few seconds actually to congratulate each other. Beautiful work here. Lovely work. Okay. So if you would then in the room here to turn to face front again, would you turn to face front? And can we get a mic out to take a share or two here? So checking in with your body. You know, there is a power in the spoken word, and there is a power in speaking out the unspeakable. There's an uplift, there's a lightness that normally comes off that. So what's your experience here? How does it feel inside your body? What's the result of having done that? Put your hand up and we'll bring a mic to you. What's your experience here? Yeah, right over here by the wall. What does that feel like? What's the realization, or what's the result?
Well, the thought is that I'm okay as I am.
I'm okay as I am. That's a big realization. That's a good thought.
I'm okay, and funnily enough, I've got an ache that I've had for years in my side,
right.
And hasn't gone, but it's released. It's like beautiful. It's released.
It can be as simple as that, because it takes a huge amount of energy, and it takes life force to hold this place this stuff in place inside. You know, it's like you've got to grip it, you've got to hold it, you've got to keep it in place somehow, and there can be physical ramifications of that over time.
It feels lighter. It feels like it's releasing.
Fabulous. Yeah. And I'm okay inside. What a great realization. I mean, I was moved when Brandon said earlier on, you know, that she realized in that process that all of humanity is here, it's present, the good, the bad, the indifferent. It's like all shades present here. And when you admit that, when you can speak that, there's a huge letting yourself off the hook, you know?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Who else? Thank you. Who else? Put your hand up and we'll bring the mic to you. What have you realised here? What are you feeling like? What's the result of doing this? Yeah, right up front here. Can we bring pass the mic up front?
I definitely feel much lighter.
Good.
I want to go home and do this with my partner, with my mum.
Right.
Too scary, I don't know.
Well, soft, gentle, wide opening. And you admit first, you make the offering first, and then just to allow any sharing that they give you to be organic. Rather than, you know, to put pressure on them, just create the opening, and then the opening will draw in the response. It definitely feels like there's a letting go with this, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful.
Uplifting.
Well,
feeling.
thank you. I'm going to invite Brandon back on stage here, and she's going to carry on from here. So,
Yes.
great work.
You were feeling a greater capacity, not only for love for others, but love for yourself. Did you feel energetically like some doors opened up inside you? That's what it felt like with me, with my mum. With each thing that was shared that was the no-go zone, each thing, a door opened, and then suddenly it's like the whole dam broke. And I've been in this love where anything that anybody shares is welcome here. All the time. And it's not going anywhere. And I'm feeling so at rest, and also feeling such compassion, you know, for other people. And that's also because of that process I went through where I saw myself as both the victim and the victimizer. And I'd like to take you right into a smaller, much abbreviated version. I mean, it was a 2-hour process when I went through it with Gabby, and we're going to have to make it much more abbreviated. But I would like for you to meet this consciousness of being the victim and the victimizer, and really finally opening up our DNAs to turn the compassion gene on for yourself. And I promise you, when you have compassion for yourself, it feels like it's natural to have compassion for other people. Otherwise it's forced. You know, any area of our life that we've not accepted, then we get to judge someone else for that. You know, because we've not accepted it, we judge it in ourselves, so we sure as heck are not going to let someone else get away with it. But when we really, really see that we've played that game, and we've come to a place of realization of the amount of pain that drove us to play that game, and some sort of acceptance is here, then when you see the game in front of you, the full entire panoply of life's suffering in all the ways we've danced this dance, suddenly it's natural to have compassion. You know, compassion, the word compassion means to feel with. And that's this new door that we're opening into for life. The invitation being made by December 21st and December 22nd, 2012 is to open a door to live compassionately in love for ourselves and for one another and for life itself. So let's all take a nice deep breath in, letting it out, and closing your eyes. And I'm going to take you into a very abbreviated, but I think you'll find extremely powerful adaptation of the process that I went through. And let's begin by softening our bodies and just relaxing and opening, and taking in a deep breath in of openness, and letting that flood the room. And willingness, the willingness to expose whatever is going to be exposed here in this process. And trust. And the willingness of absolute, total exposure. And letting your awareness be open and spacious and vast in front of you. free behind you, and endless to all sides of you. And in your mind's eye, imagine there's a set of 5 steps. And with every step you take, it's causing you to open ever deeper into this vast, boundless ocean of love that is your own essence. Good news is you don't have to do a thing. You just step onto each step and it starts carrying you deeper into this love. 5. Feeling your awareness expanding. 4. You're vaster still. 3 is the infinite in front. Boundless mind. And spacious to all sides. 2. And then 1. And you're just resting in a field of presence, of love, acceptance. And in front of you there'll be a doorway. And behind that door is this great radiant light of your own soul. And also behind that door is a mentor whose wisdom you trust. It could be a sage, a saint, an enlightened master, something born of your own imagination. But it's someone in whose divine presence you feel safe and whose wisdom you trust. So when you're ready, go ahead and step through that door into the light of your own being and go over and greet your mentor. And then to the side of you, there's going to be a special magical time machine. And what's so magical about this time machine is it can carry you to any age or time period in your life. And so right now you and your mentor are going to go into this time machine. And in front of you, when you close the door now, there's an instrument panel. And there's a green button, and on it it says, being a victim and a victimizer. And there's also going to be a dial there that can dial you to the various ages and time periods of your life that will spin, and it will actually stop at a specific time period where you felt you were either a victim or a victimizer. And so you don't have to do anything. Just you and your mentor are sitting there inside this time machine. And now go ahead and push that green button that says victim and victimizer. And you'll watch this dial spinning. And it'll just stop now at a certain age or age range. It could be a time period where you've actually run that game. But look at the number, or see or sense or just feel or know what that number is, or what those series of numbers are for your age range. Know that right now you're going to open the door of this time machine. You're going to step out into that time period in your life. And there's going to be a younger you from that time period. And you may or may not remember the actual memories but that happened at that time. But there was a feelingness of either being a victim or a victimizer or both. Because we've all played this game at some point in our lives. We've all played this. And actually just giving a voice to the younger you and speaking it out loud. And we can all whisper it out loud. And if you're in your rooms, listening to this, speak it out loud. It's very important that you actually speak it out. Otherwise, it just hangs out with you. Okay? So just, better out than in. Just give the younger you a voice and let them just share how they were feeling at this time when you were both a victim and a victimizer, or one or the other. So on the count of 3, we'll all together whisper it out loud. Just giving the younger you, whatever age range that was, a voice. and let that younger you share out loud what it was like to play that game. 1, 2, 3. And really get a strong sense of how you were feeling at that time. And then innocently ask yourself, knowing what this consciousness is and what the words you just spoke were, and how those words made you feel, go back through time to an earlier memory or an earlier time period where you were feeling this consciousness, and just notice what it felt like at that time. So a younger memory, or a younger series of memories, or just a younger age range. And just notice that that exact pattern was actually running. Maybe not in exactly the same way, but the consciousness for it was there. And now go back through time and just touch into, and you may see it, you may not, but you can sense or feel it, because your soul knows every millisecond of your life. Go back to a time when you were a toddler and notice if this consciousness was there, even as a toddler. You may not have any memories, or you may, but just check in with the consciousness. You know what that consciousness feels like, of being both a victim and a victimizer. And now just check into an earlier time period when you were an infant. And notice if this consciousness was there. May not have found words at this point, but is the feeling there? And even though you may not be able to see it, have the knowing that you're going to go back inside your mother's womb. And notice how as an infant, there is in the womb, as a being, that this consciousness, check it out, may not have been in exactly the same form as that older you, but these whisperings of this consciousness, was it already there with you in your own mother's womb? And now go back through time to an even earlier memory, before you even had a physical form, when you are nothing but infinite awareness itself, formless presence, this field of allness. And right now, imagine that there are all these lines connecting you to all the different lives that you may have lived. They may be genetic memories, they may be past life memories, but different lives that you've lived where you've been running this consciousness of being both the victim and the victimizer. And just peer down the tube of any one of those lives and just get a sense or a knowing what was going on in that time. And even if you can't see it, just know. And look down another tube, or sense or know, or feel, or hear even. As you gaze down that tube, what was going on in that life? Were you a victim or a victimizer? How did that play itself out? Maybe you were both. Just keep peering down each of the tubes and getting a sense or a knowing. You may not see it exactly, but get a sense of knowing. And keep looking down each of the tubes. And as you look down each of the tubes, the recognition that you've actually played every game that's ever been played. You've been as bad as a human being can be. You've been as shining and as free and radiant as a human being could be. You've perhaps both dances in the same lifetime. You've hurt others as badly as any human being is capable of hurting another person. And you've been hurt. And just see the different dances of suffering that have occurred. Whether you were playing the role of victimizer or victim, it doesn't matter. It's just all suffering. And now asking the presence of God or a mentor to come and just to say to the mentor, oh God, it's time for me to finish with this old consciousness. Let's do this out loud together. It's time for me to finish with this old consciousness. It's time for me to break with this karma. It's time to step through a new door. Into an acceptance consciousness. And to stop dancing this dance. And having a mentor come and first of all send forgiveness, love, light, grace. See this happening. Absolute, all love, unconditional love, universal love, and acceptance. Let it flood down into each of the lifetimes where you've been both an aggressor, a victimizer, and a victim, or when you've been one or the other. Just seeing this love, this light, and just saying to all the millions or the thousands of lifetimes or the hundreds, whatever it is, all acceptance is here. Say this out loud to all the lifetimes. All acceptance here. And all forgiveness. I've danced every dance there is. And it's time now to finish. Your essence is love itself. And seeing this love just shining down each and every tube. And now let our mentor come and cut the cords with all these lifetimes. Letting all this love just go shining in. And love shining back through you, reverberating through like waves of love, just pouring through consciousness. And letting all those tubes, those threads, those cords that have connected us to these other lives, let them now just merge into a scintillating light. And say, this karma finishes now. And now imagining in front of you a DNA strand that is your DNA strand. And as we know, during the course of our life, different of our genes get expressed and unexpressed. And ask right now some huge force of grace to come. Some huge consciousness is going to come. And turn on all the wholesome, health-giving, compassionate, life-giving, loving, accepting genes. Just let them be turned on. See the various genes light up and let a spiritual shower right now just wash the strand clear. Wash it clean until it shines with just pure acceptance consciousness, pure love consciousness, pure forgiveness consciousness. just let a spiritual shower come and wash every single strand clean until it's shining. And all the genes that represent wholesomeness and love, compassion, forgiveness, light, vitality, giving, sharing, any genes that have respond to that consciousness, see them literally lighting up now. Like a Christmas tree lights just turning on, only it's in the shape of a DNA strand. And saying to grace, to God, to life, that this is the consciousness and the genealogical structure that you're going to bring into this life now. This is the consciousness and the genealogical structure I'm bringing into this life now. And taking hold of a balloon of self-love, and breathing that consciousness in and letting it suffuse the entire environment. And a balloon of self-acceptance, letting it suffuse everything. A balloon of compassion for self and others, letting that suffuse the environment. A balloon of self-forgiveness, and a balloon of forgiveness of the dance of suffering that all of life dances for all of humanity. Acceptance and forgiveness for all of that. And now bringing in all this consciousness, all these balloons, and this Christmas tree lights for DNA strands, coming in and letting your soul take up residence now in the mother's womb. And as all time is simultaneous, this is actually happening now. Where you're full of grace, full of self-love, self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, compassion for self and humanity, love for self and humanity, forgiveness for self and humanity. And just feel what it feels like to be in the mother's womb. Even if you can't see it, just know it's happening. And now come post-womb into a time period where you're an infant. And feel what it feels like to live as an infant. As this love and compassion for whatever arises in life. In yourself and in others. Just pure neutrality and acceptance. And now bringing this same consciousness up to a memory of when you were a toddler. And again, just this consciousness of love, of acceptance, of compassion for self and others, forgiveness for self and others, coming up now into that later memory. And again, the same consciousness of love, compassion, neutrality, acceptance, of the dance that all of life dances. Coming even to a later memory than that. And then bringing this consciousness into yet a later memory after that. Keep experiencing all the memories now, only playing them and experiencing them from this wholeness consciousness of all of life is in acceptance, compassion, neutrality for whatever dance anybody dances. And coming up to an even later memory. And again, live this new consciousness in even a later memory. Coming up right up through your teens into adulthood and just living this consciousness. And coming up to a later adulthood memory. And again, just breathing that way, feeling that way. Opening into the consciousness of you. Living as acceptance, as self-love, as self-forgiveness, as compassion. Coming up to even later adult memories until you're approaching the now. And just breathing that way. Feeling what it feels like just to live as this. accepting the painful dances that people dance, and accepting your own painful dances that you have danced, and coming right up into the now moment, and just bringing this consciousness of I am this love, I am acceptance, I am compassion, I am pure neutrality, and accept the whole dance of life as it is. And now stepping into the future, a day from now, and breathing that way and feeling that way. Opening into the consciousness of just living from this neutrality, this love, and a week from now. And again, you're just living as universal acceptance, universal love, compassion for self and others. And a month from now, again, it's just this compassion, this love. And 6 months down the line, already over 70% of the cells are whole. You're literally becoming all new, and everything inside of you is resonating as this love, as this compassion, as neutrality, as acceptance. That doesn't mean we love seeing a child being hit in the street by its mother. We feel compassion for both the child and the mother that they're dancing this terrible, painful dance. And a year down the line, and I know you know this, there won't be a single molecule a year from now that was here today. You're literally all new. So breathing how you're breathing, feeling how you're feeling, and opening into the consciousness of you. A year from now, you living as neutrality and acceptance. And now stepping into the future 2 years down the line. Breathing that way, feeling that way. Opening into the consciousness of that compassion, that neutrality, that self-acceptance, that self-forgiveness, and compassion and acceptance for others. Stepping 5 years down the line, breathing that way, feeling that way. It's said the fact that you can even conceive of that consciousness means you can start from here, starting now. And so letting the 5 years from now you hug that original younger you that you first discovered when you opened the door of the magical time machine. And let that younger you merge inside now and grow up in this wholeness consciousness of acceptance, compassion, and love for our fellow human beings and ourselves. For all the no-go zones, for all the ways we've been stung. Just love and acceptance for every aspect of our life, and for all the same in everyone else. And now, you and your mentor will go back into the time machine. And there's another button up there that says the word now on it. And when you push that button, you'll see all the dials just turning and turning, and they will stop at now. So go ahead and push the now button, watching the dials turn, and stop at big letters now. And then you and your mentor can step outside your time machine, saying goodbye to your mentor, knowing you can go on this internal journey anytime you like. And now there's the door in front of you. And behind that door are the original 5 steps. And just go ahead and open the door and step onto step number 1, knowing that with every step you take is causing you to relax and open and integrate all the new consciousness. Every cell is vibrating with it. Even your DNA is resonating as this new consciousness too, and somehow it's becoming natural as if this is all that exists. And the truth is, if you can experience it now, this is all that exists. 3, feeling that everything that we've experienced here, all the opening, all the clearing, the exposing, and all this compassion consciousness, this neutrality, this acceptance for self and others, for life, is just a natural part of existence. That's all that exists for. And when you step on to step number 5, you'll only be able to open your eyes only as soon as all parts of you are fully integrated and ready to start living from this consciousness. And when you do step on to step number 5, what will happen is you'll see a door in front of you. And you will open that door now and step through into a whole new consciousness like Roger Bannister. And a door is going to close behind you right now. So step on to step number 5, open the door into this new consciousness of love, of unity, of compassion, of acceptance, and close the door behind you. And you'll only be able to open your eyes only as soon as all parts of you are fully integrated and are fully willing to live your life in this new consciousness. And so, when you do open your eyes, you can step now into this new consciousness. Stepping on step number 5 and opening the eyes now. And let's all take a nice deep breath in. And letting it out. And another nice deep breath in. And letting it out. And just making the decision to stay here now. The fact that you can conceive of this means you can start from here, starting now. Just don't leave this moment. And then the next moment comes, and here you are. And the next moment comes, here you are. And the next moment comes, and here you are, in this now. And so I'm looking at the clock, and I've realized we've gone 6 minutes over the 2-hour time, and I wish we had more time. I know with all of us here we're going to go to lunch together, but I'd like to thank everyone for joining us in opening this new door and to putting out this prayer that we open into a love consciousness, a unity consciousness, and that we begin living from the simplicity of this acceptance, self-acceptance of self and others. And so thank you with all my heart for this beautiful time. And a heartfelt namaste. 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 And a heartfelt namaste. And I'm going to continue actually doing these for the next year. I'm going to be doing BBTV to deepen from start here. Once a month I'm going to be doing sessions where we can continue to deepen in our realization and in our love. And so I invite all of you to be part of that ever deepening, ongoing, liberating and life transforming experience of grace. And so thank you with all my heart. Deep namaste.
We are awakening to the calling of the mystic. Awakening. We are awakening.